guys, it's nice to see you again. It's me, Jada. So, in this video, I'm gonna share how I passed the ADIT UK paper on my first attempt. This was my final CTA exam, and thankfully, I have now completed all of my CTA exams. And I set my ADIT UK paper in December 2025 when I found out that the pass rate for my sitting was only 43%, which is crazy low, honestly. And it really hit me because how easy it is to be caught out by this exam. But honestly, when I reflected, I don't think I passed because I knew every UK single tax rules perfectly, or I am a tax expert. What helped me the most was having a clear strategy. So without further ado, let's get into the strategy. Okay, tip 1. Fill the gaps outside your own practice area. So we know the syllabus for ADIT UK paper is very broad. It covers areas such as inheritance tax, capital gains tax, corporation tax, transfer pricing, etc., etc. Broadly speaking, you will see both corporate tax and the individual tax topics. So whether you work in corporate tax or individual tax in practice, you still need to cover the areas outside of your day-to-day work. And do not assume because you work in corporate tax and you don't need to revise the corporate tax properly. The exam is very different from real work. Equally, do not also assume because you work in individual tax, so you can ignore individual tax. In my own exam, although I work more on corporate tax side, I end up choosing an individual tax question in section B because it was more manageable. So the key point is do not narrow your revision too early. And tip 2. Do question practice properly. Question practice. Do not rely on predicting what will come up in the exam. ADIT UK paper is too broad for that strategy to be safe, honestly. But question practice doesn't mean doing a huge number of questions without reflection. The real value comes after you have attempted the question. Compare your answers with the model answer and ask yourself, what knowledge points did I miss? Which facts from the question did I fail to use? And how did the model answer structure the points? And what wording helped us to score the marks? Over time, you need to build your own mark scoring structure. For example, when you see a particular type of requirement, for example CFC, you know how to start your answer, and how to apply the facts, and how to make your points clear, and how to manage your time wisely. The goal is not to memorize the model answer. The goal is to understand how marks are awarded and then train yourself to write in a way that captures those marks. Okay, tip 3. Manage your time strictly. Time management is extremely important. My rule was to stick to roughly 1.8 minutes per mark. So for example, a 20-mark question should take you around 36 minutes. Do not overrun because you know the topic very well. This is one of the easiest ways to lose marks in ADIT. And we also know ADIT paper is super time pressured. Sometimes the most painful marks are not lost because you didn't know the answer, but because you spent too long on one question and had no time left for another one. So when the time's up, move on. Even if your answer is not perfect, move on, because all you need is just 50% to pass. Tip 4. Use AI carefully. I have to admit that AI is very helpful too. However, it's not that helpful when we're doing some exam preparations, especially for CTA exams. But however, AI can be helpful, but we need to use it carefully. During my study, I found that AI answers didn't always match the textbook or technical materials. This means AI shouldn't be treated as your primary technical source, especially for detailed UK tax rules, and also shouldn't be treated as your tutor. Your main sources should still be your textbook, tutor notes, legislation, and other official materials. However, AI can still be very useful as a study assistant. For example, you can ask AI to act as a strict marker. You can give it your answers and the model answers and then ask the AI to identify what points you missed, where your wording could be improved, whether you answered the requirement properly, and whether your structure was clear. But do not rely too much on AI's scoring, because AI can be too positive. Use it may mainly help you to identify the gaps quickly and improve your answer technique. Because I remember the AI, every time when I let the AI to among my answers, they always say, okay, I'm super confident to pass the exam, but which is not the truth. Okay, tip 5: choose questions strategically. In the exam, do not choose a question only because the topic looks familiar or that is your practice area. Always read the requirement carefully, and sometimes a familiar topic can have a more difficult requirement. For example, it may involve some tricky text scenarios which we haven't seen before. On the other hand, a less familiar topic may have easy sub-questions where you can pick up the marks more easily. So my advice is to quickly scan all the questions and choose based on both the topic and a specific requirement. Ask yourself, can I actually score marks here? Do I know how to structure the answer? Can I finish it within the time? Do I know the regulations? Okay, finally, the biggest takeaway. My biggest takeaway is that you don't need to know everything perfectly to pass the ADIT UK paper 2.9, but you do need a clear exam strategy. You need to cover the breadth of the syllabus, practice questions properly, and manage your time and use your materials efficiently, and write it in a structure that helps you score marks. For me, passing exams was not about being perfect. It was about being prepared, disciplined, and strategic. Thank you for watching my video. I wish you all the best with your exam. Bye bye.